Let's divide 7 and 696 thousandths divided by 3.2, or 3 and 2 tenths. So with decimals, you just want to check that divisor and make it into a whole number. So 3.2 is not a whole number. 3 and 2 tenths is not a whole number. So I'm going to multiply it by 10 to turn it into a 32. I moved the decimal point 1 to the right. Whatever you do to the divisor, do to the dividend. Take this decimal, move it 1 to the right. And now we're ready to divide. And just know that your quotient will have a decimal point in the same spot as the dividend. So go ahead and put that in now. And hopefully you put it right here. So same spot. Now we're ready to divide. We're doing 76 and 96 hundredths divided by 32, just plain old 32. And we're just going to follow the regular steps. Divide, purple boxes, multiply, reds, subtract, those are the greens, and then bring down, which is the blue. And you have to go until you get a 0 at the end. And if you don't get a 0, like if there's a remainder, you have to keep going until you get a 0. All right, so first we're going to do 7 divided by 32, which you can't do. So let's try 76 divided by 32. Another thing you can do is you can add up your 32, skip count them just to get those multiples going. But I know that 32 times 2 is 64. So I'm thinking that's the most that I can fit 32 into this number without going over. Now we multiply. 2 times 32 is 64. And now we subtract. So 76 minus 64 is 12. Now we're going to bring down the 9, and we're dividing again. So what is 129 divided by 32? Well, I think I might just go ahead and keep adding like my multiples up here to see, because I know that's 32 times 1, 32 times 2. Add 32 to that, and you get 96. And then let's add another 32 to that. So if I want to do 96 plus 32, I get 128. Okay. So these are my multiples of 32. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That's how many times I can fit 32 into 129 without going over. If I keep going, it'd be too much. So 4. Multiply that down. 4 times 32 is 128. Now we're going to subtract. 129 minus 128 is 1. Bring down the 6. And now we do the steps all over again. So I want you to think, what are we dividing and what's the answer to that step? So what we're dividing is 16 divided by 32, or how many times can 32 fit into 16 without going over, which is none. You can't do it. This number is too small. So 32 can fit into 16 no times. So you put a 0, 0 times. What is the next step? We would do 0 times 32, which is 0. And now we do 16 minus 0, which is 16. With a normal long division problem, you would now be finished, because you would say, okay, well, the answer is 2.4, remainder 16. But these are decimals, and if you have a remainder, that you can't have a remainder with decimals, because that's what you're doing, is you're taking numbers and breaking them up, and you can break them up forever, really. So you need to keep going until there's no remainder. So what you're going to do is you're going to add a 0 up here to the dividend and go ahead and bring it down. And then we'll do all those steps again. We'll divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 160 divided by 32, or how many times can 32 fit into 160? Well, remember, this was 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 times, gets you to 128. Let's try a 5th time. So that was 4 times, was 128. Let's add a 32, and that actually gets us 160. So 32 can fit in 5 times. Another way to do that is 32 times 10 is 320. Divide that in half, and 32 times 5 is 160. And that just helps me when I'm trying to multiply, that I can multiply by 10 and I can multiply by 5s. But anyways, we know that 32 can fit into 160 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So put our 5 up here. multiply it down. 5 times 32 is 160. Subtract, and now we're finished because there's a 0 at the end. Check that your quotient has a decimal point in the same spot as it does in the dividend. And our answer is 2 405 thousandths.